Hey, uh, I start my day off. I gotta straighten up, but it's 6:41. 6:41. Alright. I could digest my food in 2 hours. That's like 8:40 going on 9 o'clock. I should be fully digested with my breakfast, you know what I'm saying? But I'm making this decision to I'm gonna pull me off a little probably 12-hour fast today, man. And stick to just some fluids. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give me a cleansing. Probably go ahead and start my day off with a cleanse. My morning, since I got 2 hours to do whatever. But the thing about it is, if I cleanse myself now, I'm gonna probably want to work out. You know what I'm saying? Then I gotta cleanse myself again. And soap is very scarce. Why I run through a bar of soap so fast, it don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? But I know I gotta clean. So I'm gonna clean my spot. And then probably yield for a little minute. Let my mind kind of like, cause I'm always dwell on God this morning. All my life. My whole entire life consists of me just always being in just deep thoughts concerning God. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm always constantly, at question about what I'm witnessing. You know what I'm saying? I'm always, concerning myself or indulging in whatever God's message is through all things that I do witness. So yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe I'll probably pull some writing off today. See what happens. I don't know, when I write, it seems like I conjure information that I don't even be like, all right, so I got this thing about just jumping in, you know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily sit down like most people, have a little plot and a theme about their videos. I'm just living my life. And whenever it concerns God, it'll just take me somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So most of the time, if you see me on a lot of these videos, I never really thought before I even pressed the record button. It was like I just press the record button no matter what's going on. And you see me, you know what I'm saying? But I got to this point where I trust God so much, or I developed this trust with God. It's just like my every endeavor. I don't know, things turn into become very significant and meaningful. Just stepping, taking that first step in a direction to profess about my God. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, it's just something about it. Something about me. Just dwelling on God. You know what I'm saying? That pretty much is what transpires most of the time throughout my video. So yeah, man, when I do write, it's the same thing. I could just sit in front of a piece of paper, or right before I get ready to type, and I don't know what I'm going to say. I remember one time I made this one song, and it came out of an abyss of nothing. I remember, I was like, dang, well, I had this urge that I wanted to write about something, but I ain't knew what I was about to say. So I was like, thinking. I wrote down thinking. I was like, then I thought. What I thought was just something that I was thinking. But the way the words came after each other was very like so out of nowhere, man. After I said thinking that I thought what I thought was just something that I was thinking, I said thought it, thinking you thought. And I'm thinking what you thinking, believing what you believe in. What you thought I think now. What you thought I think now. What did I say? What you thought I think now. Still thinking. Funny how the thought is a manifestation of something. And I was like, I don't know, for some reason, it turned into something. And I got it written down somewhere. But just coming to mind how, God is like the forefront of my every piece of work. Like, I don't know, I could dwell on God about something and I'll be led to just go wherever in that. You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, I look back or I come back to and I got a whole piece in front of me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to remember what I said. What you thought I think now? Still thinking. Funny how something is the manifestation of present. Still thinking. I said something, man. I don't even remember how I said it. But that was a long time ago, man. I find myself too, I've been having dreams about random people that I don't even know. And I've been trying to figure out, like, all right, why I dreamed about this person? Or, God, what you trying to tell me? Like, all right. Now, a lot of times, well, I ain't gonna say a lot of times, but been most of the times since now recently, the people that I've been dreaming about end up being somebody maybe God had warned me about. You know what I'm saying? But when I was in my church, I seen a lot of my brothers and sisters come together, and they be people that you at least expect to come together. And because, like, I remember an elder of mine spoke about how he dreamed about one of his sisters, and he ended up letting the apostles them know. So they went into prayer about it, went on some time. Like a year later, next thing you know, the same female he dreamed about, she ended up going to apostle them saying she dreamed about him. You feel me? Come to find out that God had called them two together. You know what I'm saying? And everybody in the church, all the young people we was watching how a lot of elders got brought together. And it was just something amazing, man. It was a beautiful thing. To this day, man, them folks are still devoted to each other, loving each other. Man, his wife used to be a stud, though. You know what I'm saying? She ended up giving her life to God, man. And it's a beautiful wife, man. They got like probably 3-4 kids, man. Beautiful family. You know, and it's just wild, man, that I think that when I'd have a dream about a random female, it'd be like, all right, God, what you trying to tell me? Because I don't want to be, you know what I'm saying, off alignment with certain things. But I don't know, man. Like, all right, so there was this one woman I dreamed about. She was a woman of God. You know, she has her own ministry or whatever, and she sings. She does music. I do music. I mean, like, I can make gospel music out of nothing. I don't know. It just come like water. I can drop a gospel song on you so fast. But I don't know, man. Something about it, like, she kept showing up in my dreams, you know what I mean? So I thought that she may be someone I'm called to, and I didn't know it. So I did my investigation. I yielded for a minute. Just started following her ministry. You know what I'm saying? Well, during so, she used to have this like morning devotions and worships every morning. And at the time, man, I was smoking. And you know what I'm saying? I wasn't really like taking up nobility, you know what I'm saying? Or not trying to like I'm in the direction of doing now in my life, you know. But, you know, just listening to her every morning, getting up, started being a thing, you know what I'm saying? Even when she ministered, I go sit down through her classes, all this, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, I don't know, it was something about it. Like, I felt like, dang, God, like, I feel like this my one you talking about, you know? And you know what I'm saying? I think I was wrong, you know what I'm saying? I think God was really just warning me. And I'm gonna say why I feel like God was warning me. It's because when I extended myself, you know, over time, it wasn't like demanding and forcing or being impatient, but I was so much more that I needed to learn about the individual. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I came to the realization that this person may not be aligned with me spiritually. You know what I'm saying? I think that the religion has fixed her mind totally on the belief to where it's like she's not receptive to, you know, embodying and digesting God holistically like I am. You know what I'm saying? So it's like some people take up traditions along with the religion and become very narrow-sighted. You know what I'm saying? When you learn the scripture, man, you will reach this level of adulthood or maturity where, you know, you have to understand why all the things that we have witnessed in this world exist and why we are called to witness these things. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like you being in the church all the time. I find a lot of people in the church that's all the time they're in the church. And then yes, some people go out and evangelize, right? But the Messiah never did works that way. And calling people to repent and holding their transgressions over their head. You know what I'm saying? There was a thing about Christ's acceptance in the world. Not that it was like he was a lover of the world. It was just more of the acceptance, because his compassion to understand those who were in their iniquities, bro. Like, his compassion to understand brought people to the belief. You know what I'm saying? Versus the belief ended up being a prerequisite or a stencil for someone to have to shape themselves through. You know, it became something that I learned. So it's like you can be in the church and you can be learning about being a soul all day, but never go out into the field. You get your hands dirty. You really know how to sow the seed, nurture the seed, water the seed, tend to it. You know what I'm saying? Watch, you know, God bring, you know, the cultivation about to where this plant start growing and you started, nurturing it and giving it the compassion necessary in order for it to grow upright. You know what I'm saying? That's like a person taking seeds, throwing it out there, right? No one really tends to the garden. They just got all these seeds, such as the word of God, and they just throwing it all out there and leaving it just like, all right, I did my job. You know what I'm saying? Let the wilderness come and just Some people are calling me shepherds in the church too as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is these things, man. I've learned so much. It brought me to a different degree of maturity about having to be able to embody the Messiah and God through all things. To be able to be in constant exchange with God and everything that I witness. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of people have not graduated to the point of, like, all right, you got some churches that will accept people as they are, right? But then it's like, once they get into church, that's like, all right, you got to meet these prerequisites, right? Everything that you doing is wrong. In order to be right and make it to heaven, you got to be this way and that way, and you got to do this and perform these type of customs and traditions. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? When the sole gospel of the Messiah was to love thy neighbor as you love thyself, right? And love God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, knowing that was the fundamental basis of the Messiah, really kind of, because with these just them two, all the other commandments were being kept. But yet you feel like you have to bring a person through some type of method in order to will themselves to heaven. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you can actually will yourself to wisdom either. I think wisdom is granted to you. It's not a book. I don't care how many books you read, how much knowledge you gain. Wisdom is something that is in action. It's like knowledge. This is the process of how I look at it. There's knowledge, there's an understanding, and then there's wisdom. I feel like knowledge is something that you acknowledge. I come to the knowledge thereof. There's an acknowledgement. All right. Then I come to an understanding about what I've acknowledged, such as the knowledge. All right. And then once I gained an understanding, then you have applied wisdom in action of me coming and learning how to come in exchange with whatever the thing I have come to the understanding about. You see what I'm saying? But people say with knowledge, it says with I think he's saying that understanding, knowledge, and wisdom was something like that. And I don't think that that's the right order. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm led just by dwelling on God this morning. I'm led to something. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's something that I feel like is just required of people, especially of the church. You know what I'm saying? To where if we were to embody just those two main commandments alone, step out here in this world with just those two commandments alone, the world would be a totally different place for real. If we weren't so focused on holding a person's iniquities or filth over them, right? Because we're so busy in the church trying to convict. We're convicting everything and everybody. And you got to understand that some people, we're called out of ignorance. So those who are in the ignorance, you automatically got a conviction for them. And as the compassion, yeah, will go but so far, for your own safety. That's respected to a degree. You know what I'm saying? But then you have people who may just see your walk in life. It's like the Messiah didn't focus on walking around convicted and bringing people to a prerequisite of, oh, if you don't follow me, and if you gonna die, and what you doing and the way you going ain't the right way, and this how you gotta do it, and you know what I'm saying? Messiah wasn't that terse, man. Of course he demanded respect of the Father. Whenever a person mistake or didn't know who he was and what he was about, he professed who he was, what he was about, where he come from, what he was here to do. You know what I'm saying? There were times, man, Messiah did get upset, yeah, but it was a righteous anger. It was a time that he got upset with Peter. It was still a righteous anger, Man, Judas was even given the opportunity, man. The opportunity to correct himself. That was something that I felt like when you give a person the truth and you lead a person to the truth, when you give the person the knowledge thereof, yeah, man, you apply compassion to a degree. But when it's time to digress, when it's time to digress from, overly extending yourself, but also leaving the vessel open to a degree. What I mean by that is when the church finds someone who's not of the faith, and then say you give them the knowledge of the truth of how, you're supposed to personify love. And once this truth is something you give a person, like, hey, we just meet, and I'm like, all right, boom, this who I am, what I'm about. Who are you? This who I am, what I'm about. All right, well, in order for us to operate and coincide with each other and be of one mind, I'm going to show you how I operate. This is what the church does to a degree. Everybody have the different methods on how they do this. But the main objective is to allow a person the leverage to make mistakes and grow, but also you just operate and move upright. We are always called to repent for our iniquities. That's keeping ourselves humble before God. That's the real actual job of a saint. To vow to forever repent for your iniquities. Because you do not want to do wrong. You don't want to live perverse. You know what I'm saying? So when you get to the point of maturity and you understand these things, you're like, all right, God, I have fixed my heart and my mind solely on, coinciding with you and your divine objectives for me, right? And you set out into the world to take on the world and the things of the world. It's like you still have a thing called subduing or conquering ground, and the Messiah went on this journey, setting out in the world, knowing that the world was as filthy as it was, as chaotic as it was. But that didn't hinder him from still taking the initiative to lead in love, right? And I've learned that the compassion goes but so far for a person. But no one will ever come to the face unless God draws them. It's like, but how can a person be drawn, if you're not actually giving them the leverage or the rite of passage, for real. It's like, after I've informed you about how I operate, I've exposed myself to whatever your iniquities were, and you came along and you choose like, all right, I'm gonna operate with you. We're gonna rock together. But then in our process of, being on the quarters with each other and operating in unison, it's like, for some reason, you start malfunctioning due to your iniquities, right? Well, next thing you know, your iniquities start becoming an inconvenience to my body, such as the church. And then there's like okay, look, all right, let's kind of re-prompt you. Let's reiterate. Let me let you know where the malfunction is with how, we're in operation, where you're in a deficiency at, right? This is when you come down to kind of, in a sense, being fervent enough to let a person know about their iniquities, such, and how you operate and abstain through these type of, trials and tribulations. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be the diagram for that person. It's not that when you realize that it's being a malfunction and they ain't operating right, and next thing you know, you're like, oh, well, hey, look, that's where we draw the line. You don't want God in your life. Oh, well, I done took you to water. I can't make you drink. You on your own. Pew. A person looking like, man, like, what a love at, because I desire to do better. I desire to do right. It ain't like I'm really that type of person for real. And you got some people who really lack the compassion thereof. You know what I'm saying? Or lack the earnestness thereof, I meant to say. Like, they actually lack being genuine or really actually being sincere in heart about living upright. And that's all within the discernment, yeah. But we should always serve as watchmen over our brothers, So even if I got to go the other way from, like, say, friends, family, even if I got to go the other way from those who have wronged me, and knowing I got love for them, God has taught me, even though I might have to go the other way or set a boundary to an exchange, that person can't cross anymore. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna still be like there's still gonna be servitude in the mannerism of how I operate and function, even apart from them. You know what I'm saying? As long as you focusing on you, trying to live your life upright, do right, treat people right, as long as you focus on that, just living in the ordinance of living upright. A person may come along, see you, and be like, dang, man, and just see the glory of God on you. A lot of that stuff be in action, And a person can just witness the good works just in your livelihood and just your everyday lifestyle. How you treating people, how you care for people. And people be like, man, that person was a good person, that person was a loving person. And I'm seeing that person prosper. I'm seeing that person, get good things out of life. I'm seeing that person with all this peace, and sanity. You know what I'm saying? It call a person to the faith. Even the people that did you wrong would consider, like, all right, dang, the way I was going about things, I want to live that way. I want to live with that type of peace. I want to, I find a lot of ministers take all this good living and lavish living and they become very appealing to where people want to, go and walk into the faith. And then when they get under their teachings, it's a whole totally different yoke for real, But I'm saying all this to say, man, that there's a degree of maturity that God is going to bring you to. Because God is written in all things that is and isn't. So there's a maturity that God brings us to, where we got to accept the realm of being that we're witnessing. We got to accept all that we witness, good, the bad, and the ugly. We got to accept these things. And in the acceptance, we know that we are required to a degree to be in exchange with these things for some reason. Why am I in exchange with the devil? Why do I even have to know the devil? As powerful and dominant as my God is, why do I have to even be in exchange with perversion, filth, in any type of way? Why am I called to witness such things? Such vulgarity. And then you got to come to this realization that I was just talking about having to descend to a sin, right? Well, I find even everything is sound. Let's make it simple. And if everything is sound is a mere vibration or a mere tone of God, right? So in that absoluteness, the tone had to be, if it was a balanced state and it was just silence, there was no sound at all, right? And then some sound came, right? All right. You got sound that can get to its most climatic state, and then sound that can be at its most subtle state, right? But I realized the highest point of sound is light. And it's like with the fluctuation of just that chord of being or existence, right? Just everything being sound, right? It's still a tone, such as a projection of light or praise. You know what I'm saying? And that praise is still out of a sense of me being called to witness such. So with that recoil, I believe, in reflection thereof, I am required to respond. And in my response, it's totally based off of my preference. And in my preference, I have the choice to come in agreement with disgust, or to come in agreement with pleasure, or something that is pleasing, right? Pleasantness. But in that response, I find between both banks of me standing within the origin of just having the choice to go left or right, that I'm found worthy of some type of praise or gratitude. Well, with that being said, if I'm able to give thanks, or if I'm able to subject God into contempt, then there's a value somewhere in that, in God's gesture of what I'm witnessing, right? So both aspects have value that are balanced. The equity of such is far beyond what a person would think. So I'm seeing this all being praised in its own essence. But beyond the praise is an appraisal that I am called, right? Because I've been granted this host. And in every aspect of my sensory to receive the information and the identity of what is and isn't is such as God. That is what clothes me. That is what obtains my witnessing. And I'm like, okay, if I'm called to appraise such things and I'm worthy of giving an appraisal to a degree, I am called within that exchange for a reason, right? And in that significance, I find God setting me out in expansion thereof, where it's like I only possess this witnessing through the atomization of God. And with sound being the fundamental basis to all that is and isn't, I culminate my being of existence, of me being present, and my absence of me being here and not there, and me being right here and not there. You know what I'm saying? It's like I recall that all in itself inclusive. So me having this thing called time and space in succession, I found that the fluctuation of such is God elaborating. This is the elaboration of God. So God has just merely come to the introduction of introducing himself to you, which is you've been granted with your own individuality. So that's why I was like, it's just you and God talking. Because through all things, God has made himself accessible. So it's like, there's not a person that I have come to witness or know that may carry a different form of information. Like this salt right now doesn't carry the information of my arm. You see what I'm saying? But in all carbon atoms, they're in the utter readiness to be a salt, the brick, the iron, my finger, my fingernail. You know what I'm saying? The designation of this carbon atom is right here. You see what I'm saying? And this is the utter readiness to be whatever. You see what I'm saying? It's like, so the identity of me already resides within the smallest atom. If you get where I'm going. So I've gotten to this point where, but from the hand of God, it is all still perfect in itself. And that's just like 0.999 repeating. When will we ever get to one? But then at the same time, you gotta realize, like, that's just like every strike of you coloring in a stencil to make up one. Say if I'm drawing or I'm coloring in a picture of one. Every strike and stroke that I make is a stroke of imperfection. What actually fills the image in the stencil of the outline, it fills the outline of it, and it was a strike of imperfection that made up one. That's just like us in individuality. You know what I'm saying? We're all, but it's just like many different aspects to but one conscience. You know what I'm saying? We're all one mind. You know what I'm saying? And man, sometimes we create a devil that don't even really exist sometimes in ourselves due to the artificial information that was given to us to subject ourselves to a disgust. That misjudgment, that was the greatest sin, I believe. Satan's or Lucifer's disgust. Why would you subject God to your disgust? You know no other realm of being. You know no other life. You don't know no other life to choose from. There's no other realm of being. You've been given something you have never asked for. We have only been called to experience and be appreciative. We've only been called to be the mere witness of God's move. Yet it all is still, it just still be meditation. But we still be actuality. This can all just be a mere pop. It's no different from your dreams. But at the same time, it's like we've been given a will of our own to a degree. And we're permitted to a degree, even to the degree of self-destruction. But why? Because the choice, the liberty that God granted upon us, given us, you know what I'm saying? When we become responsible with this liberty, do you think that more will not be us in liberty? Because I feel like there is more life that God is going to bestow on us. If you don't believe that there's a God, please find the time to witness all that is. Observe the intellect behind every subtle thing, every substance of existence. Notice that there's a deliberate intent behind this, everything that you witness. Notice that there is an intellect far beyond what a man could compact in one mind. Hey, man, before I take you everywhere, I hope some of this makes sense, man. I ain't the best teacher or a person to explain everything, but I'm only just expressing my perspective and truth on certain things concerning God. I'm always led, even when I have no real actual direction I can go. Sometimes the light just needs to be shined everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Just and how with each other. You know what I'm saying? And how with each other. You know what I'm saying? I just gotta say that because I want people to just be encouraged, you know what I mean? To let God be the means of their every endeavor. Let God be the sense of it all. As the actual sum of it all. Through your every. So, if it don't make sense, God makes it make sense every time. For real, for real. Step out there on that and know that your love and your trust will never be in vain. Never be in vain. Let it be a life well spent, because in love, you all in. In love, you all in. And you swinging with all you got. Life well spent, man. I know I ain't held back. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, y'all enjoy y'all day, man. Y'all morning, man. I gotta get my stuff together.